Hi, I'm Terry Naturally,
And I'm Dr. Lynn Wagner.
and I have over 50 years of experience and knowledge in health and nutrition.
And I'm a medical doctor with a passion for holistic health. We come together to offer you unique viewpoints and expertise as health advocates around topics that deal with today's health concerns.
And always for your good health. So let's get into today's topic. Hello, Dr. Lynn. How are you doing today?
Good morning. I'm doing well. How are you?
Fantastic. I feel
Always
fantastic.
good.
Well, why not?
Right.
We have choices. We can
do.
either feel good or feel bad.
I
think I'd
100%
rather
agree.
feel good.
I agree. Every day.
You look great, so
Thank
you must
you.
feel good.
I do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
wonderful.
Things are good.
What are we going to talk about today?
Well, I heard we're talking about adaptogens.
I love that subject.
I do too. So my first experience with adaptogens, I think, was when I was doing my integrative medicine fellowship with Andrew Weil. And
That would be a good place.
it'd be a good place. And I remember learning about them, and it was kind of a hard concept for me to understand because as a Western trained doctor, they don't really make a lot of sense because you're not taught how they directly affect physiology. So they're a little vague.
Right.
So can you educate me and maybe increase my education on
I have
adaptogens?
a very good way to have you understand adaptogens.
Awesome.
Dr. Alex Panosian and I are just writing a book on adaptogens.
Excellent.
I can't say I have much involved in writing the book. He is such a good person, and he wants me to be his co-author. It's an honorary co-author. I
Excellent.
certainly have not contributed to the book to any extent. It is an amazing book. Anybody who wants to learn about adaptogens will get something out of it. You know, I go to medical conferences. I don't know medicine, but if I hear one thing, it's one more thing that I didn't know before I came into the conference.
Exactly.
So I always try to get 2% or 5% out of something.
Right.
So this book, for lay people, you'll get a lot of information on a variety of adaptogens.
Available now?
No.
Okay.
We just finished it. It is pure, I shouldn't say pure form, in its basic form.
Okay. So
It's got to be edited. He has to review it because we had to put all the charts in.
Right.
Amazing charts. And, to me, they look like the freeways and the railroad tracks of America. I don't understand them.
Right.
But there's so much in there that the scientists that really want to know about adaptogens will get all that information. And I can read it. I can read about all the adaptogens, how they work, which ones they are, and why they work. And I don't need all those charts. I can get enough information out of it. So
Right.
everybody will gain from the book.
Excellent.
Excellent book.
So
But adaptogens,
what exactly are they?
they're herbal medicines, herbal extracts.
So they're all derived from plants, right?
They're all derived from plants. And they help us adapt to the environment, to whatever is going on around us. Cold temperatures cause stress. Heat causes stress. Any kind of stressful situation, it'll help us to adapt to those situations. Our bodies will adjust.
So
The fight and
basically,
flight situation.
it basically, from my understanding, I always imagine them hugging my adrenal glands. That's just the way I think of them. So in a way, they basically take your body and when you have any kind of stressor, whether it's positive or negative, they help your body respond in a positive way to those stressors, correct?
Right, but not
over respond.
not just to the adrenal glands, because they create a huge resistance in the body, a balance in the body. All the pathways come together in the body. In the 1950s, a lot of the research done on adaptogens started in Russia. They were looking for things that would help
There's
their
military people, right?
military people,
Right.
cosmonauts, athletes. They wanted something that wasn't a drug, that wouldn't be tested or would be objectionable.
Right.
They wanted something that would increase their performance, their strength, their stamina,
During
the resilience.
intense stress.
Right. Any kind of stress.
Right.
When my granddaughter just broke her high school record in pole vault. Now, sometimes she is so nervous up there, she just can't even, it's hard to focus.
Right.
So that's stress.
Right.
And athletes go through the same thing. Performers go through the same thing. Celebrities go through the same thing.
People in war zones.
Same
thing.
Gosh, yes.
Yeah.
These adaptogens help us reduce the stress level. Doesn't get rid of the stress. The war is still going to be there. The pole vault situation is still going to be there.
Right.
But you can reduce the stress of it and get a better adaptation of yourself to be able to cope with the situation.
And you're even talking down to physiologic levels. So in terms of heart rate variability and temperature changes,
All that.
blood pressure. So all these
Balances
things that your body
The
does,
pulse, the
right,
blood
hormone
pressure. Yep,
release.
hormones. Yeah.
It helps it do it in a healthier way.
The old situation of fight or flight, when the tiger was chasing caveman because the caveman was going to be the dinner of the tiger.
Right.
And if that went over and over again, the caveman's going to either collapse and become the dinner, or we'll turn around and fight the tiger and either win or lose, but we'll be able to fight because he now has strength. He now has endurance. He has now stamina. He's either going to be afraid and run, or he's going to turn around and fight. So adaptogens gives us that ability, the strength, the energy, and some of these are fantastically powerful.
Right.
Better than drugs.
Oh, for sure. I mean, at this stage in our life, in our world situation, they should almost be putting adaptogens in our water.
Yeah, better than fluorides.
I just look at so that there's the concept of adaptogens, but then a little bit of overwhelm happens when you look at all the different adaptogens that are out there. So can we talk a little bit about some of the different forms of adaptogens?
In the 1950s, when it first started, the Russians were looking at ginseng, but they don't grow ginseng in Russia.
And which type of ginseng?
Well, they were looking at regular Korean ginseng. They knew about it, of course, which is Panax meyer ginseng, the species. But they have a plant that pretty much simulates the same kind of body chemistry as Korean ginseng, and it's called Eleutheral sensicoccus. Okay. They named it Siberian ginseng because it grows in Siberia. It acts like ginseng, but it's not ginseng.
It's actually eleuthero.
Right.
Okay.
So over time, American ginseng growers made them stop using the name Siberian ginseng because it really isn't a ginseng.
Right.
Not the same species.
Sure.
So they had to go back to use Eleuthero.
So ginseng is still a powerful adaptogen, though.
Both are.
Okay.
Eleuthero and ginseng.
And then there's also rhodiola.
Well, when they started, that was the only one that they started with. Then they had maybe 4 or 5.
Okay.
Now there's about 100. But there's only 10 that have a very, very powerful effect.
Okay.
And ginseng is one of them, especially the red Korean ginseng, red ginseng.
Red ginseng?
Very, very powerful.
And the other ones are like rhodiola, ashwagandha.
Yep.
What else would
Baronia from Armenia.
Oh, that one I haven't heard of.
Trying to think of some of them.
And a lot of these are taken as blends. So when I, recommend adaptogens to my patients or I look for one myself, I see a lot of blends.
Right.
Right? And that's a good way to take it, isn't it? Because they each have different properties.
Yes.
Obviously it's good to take them separately as well, but
you can do blends. You can do them individually. It depends. Whatever works best.
Well, and some are more activating and some are more calming, correct?
No, I think they do the. That's what adaptation means. It adapts
goes either way.
Yep. It brings what's up down and what's down up.
Well, and that's why, as a physician, every drug we use either brings you down or brings you up.
Yeah. Well, that's what does it.
Blood pressure medication brings you down.
Right.
Antidepressant brings you up.
Yep.
Anxiety medication brings you down. So the thought of a drug adapting like that doesn't fit in the doctor wheelhouse.
Exactly right. But adaptogens balance the body. If it's up, it brings it down. If it's down, it brings it up. It balances you. The drug doesn't do what it wants to do. The adaptogen does what you need to do.
And are there certain receptors that it's hitting or certain things that you
they don't know all that yet.
They don't know that, right? They're just able to. So basically, I think when they've studied adaptogens, they've looked at changes in heart rate, changes in temperature, changes in the person's physiology in response to stress.
Right.
Versus someone not taking the adaptogen, and the person taking the adaptogen has more favorable responses, correct?
Yep.
So they don't know at a cellular level how it's happening.
We have ginseng, we have ashwagandha, we have rhodiola, we have Schisandra.
Oh, Schisandra.
Yep. There's probably 10 good ones.
Okay.
But the basic ones, mostly in you'll find commercially, is ginseng. It's one of the oldest adaptogens.
Yep.
Antigraphis is another one. That is just probably coming onto the scene now.
Yep.
Because primarily it has such an effect on COVID-19.
Sure.
So it's really very well known now today.
Right.
Ashwagandha has been used around 3,000 years in India. And in India, they don't grow ginseng either. So ashwagandha is commonly known as Indian ginseng.
Mm-hmm.
That has a great effect. Infertility, libido, stress, sleep, lowers cortisol, improves thyroid function.
And the nice thing about them as well, what I found is they don't really have any side effects.
They don't
I
have,
mean-
in fact, that's one of the qualifications of classifying an herb as an adaptogen, has no side effects.
Like zero. I mean,
Has zero.
the only issue I see sometimes if I have a woman who wants to get pregnant, because obviously with anyone who gets pregnant, some of these drugs haven't been studied enough to say they're safe during pregnancy.
We never would do that.
They probably are, but we can't assume that, obviously. But in my experience with my patients, the only thing I've noticed is an improvement in how they feel. No one has ever had a side effect from an adaptogen.
Yeah, but because, like you say, because there have been no research on pregnancy and the infant, so I would never recommend anything except probably a multivitamin.
Right.
We know that works and no side effects. But anything else, we don't know enough about it.
Exactly.
But yeah, if my daughter was pregnant, I would give her an adaptogen.
Exactly, right. So, I know. So there's what we tell people to do and there's what we actually do. And
Sure.
I do the same thing with myself all the time. And I would think adaptogens are something that you could either take as needed. So I have patients who will go through intense periods of stress that will change and will get better. And so then I'll have them use adaptogens for those 6 to 12 months during those intense periods of stress. But I also think I've also noticed that then when they go off the adaptogens, even if their stress has gone away, a lot of times they elect to go back on it because they just felt better on it. Right?
Right.
So it's probably something a lot of people could take every day.
Oh, I take it every day.
Of course.
My first thing to take is the red ginseng.
Can you tell us which ones you take?
I take red ginseng.
Okay.
There's a very, very superior form of red ginseng. All ginseng grows anywhere from 4 to 6 years in order for it to be able to increase the gisenosides of ginseng, the active key compounds.
Are they leafy plants or root vegetables or root plants?
It's a root.
It is. Okay.
Ginseng, you use the root.
Okay.
The leaves and berries some people use doesn't have anywhere near the impact as the root does.
Okay.
But it takes 4 to 6 years for that root to grow. You can find it wild-crafted, but a lot of that has already been harvested that you can't find it in the wild anymore. So they grow it domestically, farming. And then the problem is that if you're going to grow a crop of ginseng for 4 to 6 years, you want to be able to harvest that crop at the end of 6 years. Economically, it would be, disastrous. So they spray it with pesticides over and over and over again.
Oh.
Multiple times for 6 years.
Right.
So there's a really good company in Europe that grows it hydroponically in water.
Oh.
And there are some amazing things that happen to red ginseng when it's grown hydroponically. It increases the gisenosides. There's a combination of gisenosides and ginseng called the rare noble gisenosides. They can come from the white ginseng. It's the same root. White ginseng, red ginseng is the same root. The red ginseng is steamed, causing it to become red. But that steaming process converts the gisenosides into the rare noble ones. The white ginseng, when it's consumed, is converted to the rare noble gisenoside by the gut. But we don't know how much that is converted in anybody. Some people do it differently, some people don't do it at all, but when they grow it hydroponically and they steam it, they can measure the level of rare noble. And the rare noble is there 7 times greater than the white ginseng. It makes it 17 times more absorbable. And there's a study that was just done by a doctor in Hawaii that found out when you take 200 milligrams of red ginseng in a capsule form, in a study with 100 people for fibromyalgia and chronic fatigue,
right.
They were asking for more. They needed more. So they went up to another capsule, so that was 400 milligrams.
Oh, got it, okay.
There's a chewable form that is complex with gamma-cyclodextrin, which is a starch, which increases the absorption of anything that it's complex with.
Okay.
And one tablet of 100 milligrams was 3 or 4 times better than 400 milligrams.
Interesting.
The absorption method is powerful.
Right.
There was even, in fact, gamma-cyclodextrin was studied in the 1940s as a means of increasing the absorption of drugs, because drugs sometimes can be very difficult to be absorbed. And this increases absorption up to 18, 20 times in some cases, depending on the substance.
Mm-hmm.
But you've got ashwagandha, wonderful plant. You got rhodiola, which is one of my other really, really favorites.
So you take those two, or do you just take the red ginseng every day?
I take the red ginseng every day,
Okay.
but I take the
And andrographis.
andrographis every day, and ashwagandha and rhodiola together in a complex
Right.
every day.
Those are the ones I see commonly together. Does it matter when you take them? Or is it better in the morning, or do you take them
I
twice
like
a
them
day?
in the morning
Okay.
on an empty stomach.
Got it. So you don't necessarily need to take them twice a day. I know a lot of times.
Usually I don't.
Okay, because a lot of times ashwagandha is dosed twice a day, I've noticed.
Some people do, yeah. But it's the dosage. In the ginseng, I take a chewable tablet, 100 milligrams, which absorbs like 8 to 10 times better.
Interesting.
So you're getting a tremendous. People say they can feel it in 15 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very, very powerful absorption.
What do they feel?
Energized. Feel less stress. It just takes the edge off everything.
And it's not energizing that we wouldn't be able to sleep. So it's not that kind of a like coffee jacked up feeling.
In fact, and most of the adaptogens, again, we're adapting.
Right.
If you need to sleep, it'll put you to sleep.
Right.
If you need to have energy, it gives you the energy.
Right.
It's crazy as you think of it, because drugs are not that way. This just makes your body adapt to the condition your body requires. People, in fact, they're doing
drugs take you further away.
They're extracting a fraction out of ashwagandha that some drug companies think it'll be a sleep aid.
I am not surprised. I mean, yeah, drugs, all they do is take you further away from being in balance.
Oh, yeah. Yep. When you throw one, a drug is one molecule, so it affects one pathway.
Yep.
But then all those synergistic
all the other pathways.
Boy, they're all going bing bong, bing bong, because they don't know where to go.
Yeah, I mean, this is a total tangent, but I have so many patients who come to me who have symptoms that are because of the drugs they're on, because they take one drug, then they take the next drug to deal with the side effect of the first drug.
Oh, yeah.
And then it happens down the road that they're on 15 drugs, and they have this cocktail of pharmaceuticals that is making them super ill.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of pulling them off of everything.
So if you take a drug and it causes migraine headaches, it causes lack of sleep, causes insomnia.
Right.
It causes this. So then, I'll tell you what, we need another drug for the insomnia. We need a drug for that. So now you're on 4 drugs instead of 1.
Exactly. Well, and the other thing I was going to say too is, obviously adaptogens are wonderful, but if you are a super unhealthy smoker, overweight, drinker, they're probably not going to do a whole lot for you, correct?
The adaptogens?
Right. So you still have to live a healthy lifestyle.
It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. I mean,
you still have to live a healthy lifestyle.
Yeah. You might get some benefits from the adaptogens.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you were in that case where you drank a lot, you smoked, you were not in good health, and you took, you were not eating well. And if you took ginseng, you'd probably feel a difference.
You'd feel it? So it's still worth it?
You'd feel something. You'd feel some well-being, and you'd feel some energy.
Okay.
Yeah. It wouldn't be all canceled out.
And really, anyone, any age can take it?
I wouldn't go, like ginseng, I wouldn't go down below 18 years of age.
Oh, you wouldn't?
No.
Interesting.
It might be just too much.
Okay.
I don't know how far you want to. Maybe, I like 18 and over.
Okay, so adults.
Yeah.
But elderly, people who are on multiple medications, I don't think that there's a lot of drug interactions with the adaptogens that I've noticed.
No.
Because usually when I have patients who are on a lot of drugs, I have an interaction checker that I can plug everything in and run interactions. And usually ashwagandha and rhodiola, specifically ginseng, I very few.
No, I would probably give rhodiola to a child, maybe at 12.
Okay.
Ginseng is a lot more powerful. And
ashwagandha you'd give to a child too, right?
Ashwagandha.
Yeah, okay.
And andrographis, if they can swallow it.
Got it. So you're saying that most of the things are okay to swallow, but the ginseng chewable is probably the best way to get it, but swallowing is a nice option as well.
Oh, you can swallow the capsule. Yeah.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Do you feel how do you feel about tinctures for all these things?
I never dealt with a lot of tinctures in adaptogens. The only one that I've really seen, there is ginseng tincture. In Russia, they drink rhodiola and alcohol, and vodka. I don't know. I can't tell the difference.
Okay.
I've never seen enough research or have I studied enough in the alcoholic tinctures or mixed with alcohol that would be comparable to or better or less.
Plus, I think from what I've seen, it's more expensive and it's harder for people to find. It's harder to travel with. And people aren't usually as compliant with the tincture as they are with a capsule.
Now, if you go to Europe or the Asian countries, they love tinctures.
Right?
Oh, they love tinctures. But if you bring that, if they have, I've done that. I've gone there and I found a tincture that was unbelievable. Loved it. Brought it to America. Doesn't sell.
Right.
Nobody wants it.
No one wants it.
No.
Right.
Do I have to squirt 20 drops out and then drink it? And they just don't get the concept of that.
No, that's definitely not normal for us.
They want a pill. Drugs come in pills. If I'm going to take something, it's got to be a pill.
Absolutely. So there really isn't any specific person who can't take an adaptogen.
No, everybody would benefit. Everybody.
Everybody.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of which one I'm going to start first. I've been off and on with the ginseng.
I like the combination of rhodiola and ashwagandha.
Yep.
There you might want to take a couple, 2 or 3 a day, because of the dosage.
Right.
You want a higher dosage.
Because, so that's the other thing I think people don't realize is whenever you take a combination product, typically it's going to be a weaker dose of each individual product.
Right.
So if you have an ashwagandha and a rhodiola and it's in a combination product, it's going to be a lesser amount than you would take if you took it alone. So
Right.
usually you have to take a little bit more.
Right.
I think that's a great concept that people don't always understand. Because people like to buy these products that have 10 different supplements or herbs in them, and it's just really not going to get you enough of any one of them.
No,
It's
correct.
usually better to take them somewhat individually, don't you think?
Correct.
I feel like
Unless it was something that would be where you could measure the key compounds of each one of them, and they would all contain the same compound. Like, for example, a group of berries that contain the anthocyanins, which are the active compounds of berries.
Mhm.
And then if you had all these berries and they all added up to be 250 milligrams of the
That
anthocyanins
makes
per
sense.
capsule, then that would make sense.
Right,
But adaptogens don't work that way.
right. I agree.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm sure that was really, really helpful for people to hear.
Hey, if you want more energy, if you want to have less stress,
Yes.
if you want to have more resiliency,
Who doesn't want that?
I mean, even for COVID-19 and all these viruses, all these adaptogens work on all those as well.
Right.
They're all
Right.
antiviral, antibacterial, antifungal. They all work to a certain degree. Some are stronger than others, but it's like a tonic for the body.
I agree. And I would just, as the doctor coming in, I would say, if you're listening to this and you're like, oh, that sounds great. I want more energy. I want less stress and I want more resiliency. Don't forget also the power of your lifestyle. So all of these things are icing on the cake, but the lifestyle is the foundation.
Yep.
And if you do both, then you can be someone like Terry, who's just killing it, which is something we should all have a goal to be like. But if you combine the great lifestyle and these nice adaptogens, that's when you really soar and you can really conquer.
It'll make a difference in people's
Make a
life
huge
for sure.
difference, yeah.
For sure.
So
Yeah.
excellent.
Well, it was great talking to you.
You too.
Yeah.
We'll see you soon.
Yeah. Absolutely. Next time.